Hey y'all, did you know that God in the Bible gave us 3 different ways of how to test for who was a true prophet of God? Well, he did. I'm going to tell you where to go to actually read up on this. And then you can also weigh these people claiming to be prophets of God against what God says in the Bible. Now, the first one is going to be Deuteronomy 13, 1 through 3. It goes like this. If a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and that sign or wonder comes to pass, and if he says, "Let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them," you shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. So God allows these false prophets to come to test you to see how much you care to actually seek to know who is the one true God. That is the God of the Bible. When it's speaking, interestingly enough, of this dreamer of dreams and giving you a sign and a wonder, for any of you familiar with LDS Mormonism, Joseph Smith was wandering around with these seer stones, that he was using to try and locate treasure, and he ended up stuffing them into a hat and then stuffing his face into the hat where these seer stones were sitting, and then these words started coming into vision that he was able to read, and transcribing and having someone else take down and write what he was seeing coming from these seeing stones in the dark hat. My friends, do you know what that is actually called? That is called witchcraft. That's actually called sorcery. So what Joseph Smith was doing was not from the God of the Bible, because the God of the Bible speaks directly against doing any such thing. It speaks directly against witchcraft. It speaks directly against sorcery. So what Joseph Smith was doing was very much against the God of the Bible. So that's just for starters. So the second test would also say, this is in Deuteronomy 18, 20 through 22. So I'm going to start in 21, but please go read thoroughly through Deuteronomy 18, 20 through 22. And if you say in your heart, how may we know the word that the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the word does not come to pass or come true, that is a word that the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You need not be afraid of him. I'll tell you right now that Joseph Smith of LDS Mormonism claimed many false prophecies that never came to fruition. They did not come to pass. I have many I can count, including claiming that Jesus Christ was going to return in his lifetime. And I know that LDS Mormons like to run around this and try and mental gymnastics the crap out of it to try and make it make sense. But trying to say that no, he was saying that if he lived to be 80 something or whatever, God's not confused about the time frame that he has everyone appointed to come to their judgment. I'll tell you that right now. So God's not confused about when Joseph was going to die. So he would never give some kind of like contingency based upon the death time of this false prophet. So no, that doesn't check out either way. So also in Matthew 7, 15 through 20, where Jesus himself is speaking, saying that, speaking about false prophets that would be coming, and saying that you would recognize them by their fruit, by the ways they lived their life, whether they were living and listening to God or to Satan. And Spoiler alert, Joseph failed this one also. He was actually a pedophile pervert that married a 14-year-old child. Her name is Helen Mar Kimball, when he was 37 years old. He was having sex with her while he was married to his first wife, still married to her. And so then, all while he was doing this, and then went on to marry like 33 other women and children. He was trying to claim that God said that he needed to do this, but God doesn't change, and he never contradicts what he's already said to do and not do. And what Joseph was claiming God told him to do, which was polygamy, God already called committing adultery. So, fail. So how do Christians know that Joseph Smith is a false prophet? Well, 'cause the Bible tells us so. So anyway, I hope that you end up looking up the history of this guy so that you can also know more about the founder of this religion, because he was not a good dude. I'll tell you guys right now. I'll have to make a whole other video on all of the different arrest charges that he was arrested on. Assault, illegal banking, disorderly person, conspiracy to murder multiple times, threats to a judge, treason, fleeing from his charges. It's like, this dude's crazy, you guys. Also, please I always encourage people to go read the King Follett Discourse of 1844. This is Joseph Smith's most well-documented speech, which very clearly states the God that he came teaching of, which is not at all the God of the Bible, not at all the Jesus of the Bible. And if you don't know who Jesus is, if you're following the Jesus of LDS Mormonism, which is not the same Jesus Christ of the Bible, you have been taught of a Jesus that not only cannot save you, but of one that does not even exist. This is why it's so important to tell you the truth. I want to see you all in heaven. May God gift you ears to hear and eyes to see. Love you.